Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Magical Witchy World TV. I am Star Ravenhawk. Rhonda?
And welcome. Yeah, there's a little bit of a delay on my side. So sorry. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back this week.
Okay.
We are excited to have you with
Okay.
us.
Okay. And now on with the show.
On with the show.
All right. All right. Tonight we are proud to welcome Mark NeCamp Jr. to the Magical Witchy World TV. Hi, Mark. Good to see
Hey,
you.
hi Star, hi Rhonda. Thanks so much for having me on your show. This is amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a pleasure. Such a pleasure. All right.
Thank
So,
you for
Rhonda, let's
joining
introduce
us.
Mark. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
are
Of
excited to have you. We are excited to have you here. But as we like to do with every show, we like to introduce our guests to everyone who watches. So first, let's go through your bio, and then we'll go through our questions and interview. First, Mark NeCamp Jr. is a healer, author, poet, teacher, spiritual alchemist, and modern day student and practitioner of the art. He teaches classes using magic as a tool for personal growth. He is passionate for how we each can, through the alchemical process, turn our spiritual lead into gold as individuals and as a global community. He has led many community groups in the Midwest and taught at events such as Pagan Unity Festival, Convocation, Starwood, Beganicon, and many others. He's the author of the upcoming work Energy Magic by Moon Books Publishing and available through Amazon and Barnes& and Noble as well as other bookstores. He can be contacted through his website www.marknecampjr.com. Thank you again so much for joining us tonight.
Yes, yes, yes.
course.
All right. So we will begin with a Q&A that we have for Mark, as we do with everyone. So, Mark, one of the first questions we always ask
Sure.
is people's journey of how they came from
Oh,
where their past is to now. And that is the titles they call themselves, whether they were Wiccan or pagan or spiritualist or, whatever titles that you gave yourself as to what it is that you are. And so we'd love to hear that and how that journey went and where you are now.
sure. So, wow, it's a long story. Um, so if you want the extended story, I actually did a talk on religious diversity at Ferris State University in Michigan. So you could Google YouTube my name and Ferris State University. You'll kind of get the long version.
Okay, all
So
right.
let me
We'll
give you
take
kind
the
of
short
the
version then because we have a lot
yeah,
of questions to ask
of
you.
course,
Okay.
of course.
All
So the Reader's Digest
Yes.
version is I grew up in Chicago. I'm biracial. Have a black mom, or she's actually passed, and a white father. And I grew up in a household that was Catholic, but it was actually on the south side of Chicago, which is predominantly black. So there were these little ladies in the back of the church with these very colorful necklaces that I didn't quite understand what they were, and I didn't know until years later that they were, initiates into like Santeria. And by
right.
my house was the largest spiritual goods store in the Midwest, and that was Lama Temple Candles. And one of my first occult teachers was a old man named Goldfinger who had a gold tooth and wore a mechanic's
I
outfit,
love it.
and he taught me hoodoo and root work. From there, I kind of left the Catholic Church, and I kind of went on this exploration of Tibetan Buddhism, Hinduism. I was almost an initiate at a Hare Krishna temple, and that's a whole long
Mm.
story. Then I studied a lot of shamanism, and I got into the occult. And then I was kind of like, well, where do I put all this stuff? And then by a very, very strange sequence of events, and you know how the universe or the gods work, there's no such thing as coincidence. Everything just kind of like, happens. But I started working at a pagan shop in the town I was going to college at the time. And I um, joined a coven from that the manager of the store created. Then I started leading my own coven. Um, from there, let's see what else. I'm a Golden Dawn initiate.
Oh, wow.
I'm a Freemason. So I've got like a lot of esoteric, study under my belt. And then
Yeah,
from
very
there,
high
I just,
magic. Very high
yeah,
magic there you went.
yeah.
Mhm.
But I studied all these systems. I've studied all these systems from, like low magic to high magic, thaumaturgy to theurgy, as you might call it. And what I realized was that at the baseline, if I took away all the trappings and all the words and all the pretty, all the pretty things, that the underlying motif was energy. That
Mhm.
I can do what I can accomplish through Kabbalistic magic. I can accomplish the same way in hoodoo, just by doing different things, but they would have the same energetic effect, whether it was
Right.
like healing or protection or, more, shall we say, defensive things or, stronger things, that you got to do sometimes. But I noticed that everything was based around energy. And this also came from my background working with the chakra healers and having a really good energy healing teacher who's in energy healing and taught me a lot of what she knew. And I'm a
Mm.
Reiki 2 practitioner. And basically, because everything was energy and magic is all about the manipulation of energy, I just said, you know what, I'm going to base my practice on that. And that's where energy magic really came from. It's,
Okay.
how do I take away the tools? How do I take away the trappings? How do I directly do magic? And I also
Right.
found that, being in places where I wasn't, I was in the best financial places in certain points of my life. And, let's just put it out there. There's a lot of broke magical practitioners out of there for one reason or another.
Mm.
And I was thinking,
Mhm.
I kind of want to jailbreak magic in a lot of ways. And let's just like have people do stuff without tools and just like work with magic directly.
Okay. Sounds great. So
That's fabulous.
I guess the term you call yourself is what? Because then we could either leave it as
Oh,
a
wow. That's a
spiritual
good question.
person or yeah, you
So,
know.
I'm one of my mentors is Oberon Zell, and Oberon said, "Hey, you're a wizard." And I was like, "Okay, if Oberon says I'm a wizard, I could claim wizard." But,
Okay.
I could also say I'm a witch,
Right
but
on.
even though I'm not in an active coven, I mean, I could claim like all these different titles. But so
Yeah.
the kind of title I've been using recently, and I put on my author page on Facebook, is a mage. And just
Okay.
because I'm a magical practitioner, and
Okay.
I'll just say I'm a
Mage.
practitioner.
Right. Right.
But I kind of like the term mage right now because it's
Yeah.
simple, it's to the point,
Right on.
and I don't have to go into like all these different systems I know, and I can say, you know what, I'm a practitioner of the art.
See that's what I like to hear
Right.
because honestly, I want to hear
Mhm.
people say what they are calling themselves, not what other people have given
Right.
them as a name,
Right.
but what they themselves accept themselves as, and that's
Right.
that's pretty cool. All right, mage it is.
Exactly.
All right, go ahead, Rhonda.
Yes. No, that's fabulous. That's
Yeah.
fabulous. And I do wanna say, hey, I did attend Ferris State before it was a university for a hot minute. Um, yeah, that was interesting. Yeah. So you've given us a great deal of background, and that's excellent. So let's go backwards a little bit further. If you could tell us or take us back to when you first realized this was part of who you are. What was
Oh,
that? What
wow.
brought you into this world of magic in your practice? I mean, you've told us a bit about what you noted, but when did you feel that this was something that was right for you?
Okay. I would probably say going back to when I was a kid. So my grandmother, she used to have prophetic dreams. So if
Mm.
she was one of those ladies who would say, I woke up dreaming about fish. Who's pregnant?
Oh,
And she was
okay. All
Wow.
always
right.
right on the
Right.
money, like every single time. And
Wow.
my mom was a little psychic, and as a kid, I would see spirits. I mean, I would just like go,
Mhm.
"Oh, hey, mommy, who's that? Who's that on the corner?" She's like, "I don't see anybody." I'm like, "Huh?" And it just, I didn't realize until years later, I was, seeing spirits. Now, just to be
Mm.
transparent, I don't see spirits as much. I think I've kind of like shut that off enough just so I stay sane. So
Right. Right.
I will
Right.
actually can feel spirits more. So like I'll do exorcism still, whether it's a personal exorcism or a house cleaning. And even now, if there's like a spirit, so real quick, I had a friend who was
Mhm.
living in a retired funeral parlor. It was converted
Yes.
into a home, and I said, "Hey, you're gonna need my help." He's like, "No, no, no, we're fine, we're fine." And then it's like,
Yeah.
then like 6 months later, if my friend who's out there watching this, yeah, I'm calling you out, brother. So so they got like a paranormal investigation crew to come in, and I was like, I don't think that's a good idea, but call me when you need
Never
help.
is.
And they're like, oh no, we're fine, we're fine.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so then the paranormal group came, started stirring stuff up, things got worse. And I said, okay, when you're desperate, give me a
Let me
call.
know.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know why you didn't call me in the
Yeah.
first place, but I'm still here for you. In the words of the late great mystic Tupac Shakur, I ain't mad at you. I got nothing but love for you. So, okay. So finally, at 1 a.m. one night, his wife calls me like, "Oh
Right
my
on.
God, I think he's got a spirit attached
Oh
to
my
him."
God.
And I was like, "I'll call you. I'll talk to you in the morning." And but basically, there was a spirit attached to him, and it was like the ghost, or I should say, spirit of probably someone who's embalmed there at the funeral home, and a young woman that died before her time. And again, what I'll do, and it's in the book, I talk about banishing through portals, which isn't something a lot of people do. So I basically created this portal, and because I can feel energy, and I use that my sense of touch primarily nowadays. I literally was able to take her by the hand and escort her to the portal and just kind of resolve things.
Right.
So,
That's awesome. Because it's just interesting that you mentioned a
Mm.
funeral home, because that's what I ended up having as a store on St. Mark's in Manhattan, not knowing
okay.
that it was formerly once a funeral home. And I rented the store, and I walked into that myself, not knowing, until they killed my bird. I had a bird in the store and they killed my bird, and then I got upset at them. Then I yelled at them a lot. I closed the store,
Geez.
and I went into a thunderstorm. I was just like, you do not do this. We can coexist, or you can get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I was like so livid. I was like, you killed my
Yes.
bird.
Oh, no.
Off on them. So
Yes.
I understand.
Yeah, you don't
But we had
play
an
with
understanding
somebody's
after.
pet.
After that, they became my protectors.
Right.
After that, they became the entire store protectors, and they were good, and we lived copacetically, kind of a thing, coexisting.
Nice.
Yeah, so we were good. Once I laid down the law, we were good.
Good. Yeah, I mean, just to go back to answering your
Yeah, that's a
question, I mean, for me, it
shame.
was really just my experiences through childhood kind of like led me through the path of magic and witchcraft and the occult. And honestly, I've been in situations that, if I wasn't a magical practitioner, then I would just kind of be under the influence of these, invisible arcane forces, and
Right.
who knows what would happen. I might be like
Right.
a psych ward or something.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
In other words, living without the knowledge is not a good thing. Ignorance is not bliss. You need to
Yeah.
know
exactly.
stuff. You need to know. Awesome.
I often tell people,
You need to know how to
just because you don't believe in the gods doesn't mean the gods don't believe in you.
Exactly.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Ignorance is not bliss in that regard.
it's not, right? So from your point of view, what does it mean to be that practitioner, or mage rather? What does it mean for you? Not from anybody else's
Sure.
or anything, from your point of view.
All right. Great question. So for me, this kind of goes into my study of alchemy. So with alchemy, none of us are perfect. There's this great quote by Rumi, the mystical Islamic poet Rumi, and he says, "We come into this life a little bit drunk." And in a lot of ways, we come into this lifetime, whether you believe, we just come here fresh or reincarnate or whatever, we come into this life and things aren't going to be perfect. Your parents are going to traumatize you. The world's going to traumatize you. You're going to mess up. You're going to get hurt, and you're going to hurt people. These are essential truths. Okay.
Right.
These are going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't care who
Yeah.
you are.
Yes.
And
Truth.
that being said, we have what we can call lead. We have things that aren't useful. People might say we have negative aspects to ourselves, or even like we can talk about the shadow. And in my book, I do a really powerful shadow work exercise, which I highly recommend people look at. It's in the back of the book, and the third part, the energetic grimoire, the energy magic grimoire. But all that being said, we have these things that we could either like be victims of ourselves, be victims of our trauma. We could be professional victims and whine and say, "Oh my God, woe is me." And we can go around, keep hurting people and driving our loved ones away. Or we can take responsibility for ourselves and use all of these things as opportunities for growth. And so for that, once we kind of go on this pathway of growth, then our lead becomes gold. And then even more so, the goal is to become the Philosopher's Stone. And the
Right.
Philosopher's Stone is that agent that helps create gold in others. So that the more I do my work, my personal work, the better that I can help others through their work. And this is what, of course, you hear back
Right
in
on.
Hermetic science as the great work. It's the transformation of the self, it's a transformation of the community, it's a transformation of the entire world. And we're really on this like the ultimate group school project. You ever have to, like, you're in school, you have to do a group project. We are in the ultimate
Yes.
group project of transformation, each and every one of us, whether we like it or not.
Right.
So we
Right on.
better get really cool with our classmates here. Forget all the grudges,
Yes.
put down the ego, and then work on transformation. So for me, being a mage or being a magical practitioner, it's about working on myself. It's about helping others whenever I can. And I don't know if
Right.
you saw it, but what I did was I very publicly created a nonprofit called the Invisible College, which is kind of like talking about like the old alchemists and a lot of old schools of occultism, but that's a whole different thing. But what the Invisible College does, real quick, is I'm giving 10% of all my book royalties from now until books are still in print to my nonprofit, and half of that is going directly to what I call the Medusa Fund that benefits women, like domestic violence shelters, women,
Nice.
nonprofit women's circles, stuff like that. And the other half goes right to the
Excellent.
Invisible College for stuff like a national pagan scholarship and a pagan suicide prevention line and things like that. And then
Fabulous.
and that's my way of giving back, and
Right.
that's also kind of going back into what I'm talking about in this great work they're all part of. And we have a responsibility
This
as
is
magical practitioners. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, we
Yes,
do.
absolutely.
Yes,
Yes,
we
we do.
do. You're speaking about topics that we actually do bring up a little bit further on in our
Okay.
conversation with you tonight.
All right.
We're going to
Sorry to jump the
circle back
gun.
to
That's
some of
okay.
that.
That's
No,
okay.
no,
We'll make it
no,
work.
that's totally
We'll make it
fine.
work.
It's
Yeah, we'll make it work.
exactly. That's excellent. That's
Yeah,
excellent.
yeah.
That's excellent stuff. So bringing it back to the story of you at this point, I want to ask, how do you incorporate your work with magic in your everyday life, in
Okay.
your day-to-day living?
Sure.
Yeah.
So one thing. Wow. I'll kind of talk about how I start
Yeah.
my day. How about that?
Yes. There you go.
I
Okay.
start my day. I'll shower, shave if I need to. I probably should have shaved earlier, but oh well.
You're good.
I talked to I talked to my mom. My mom's deceased. So I have like an altar where it has, my picture of my grandparents, my mom's ashes, the gods I work with, I have relationships with, and I start my day with humility. I thank my ancestors. I say, I'll even share the little prayer I do. I say, hail to the ancestors. It is upon your shoulders that I stand upon. Thank you for your blessings, your wisdom, your guidance, and your love. And I really acknowledge that, and I have to have that humility. I have to give props to the people that came before me, but also the gods and the spirits that support me and who I'm connected with, because we're all connected. That's another thing with magic. Magic isn't just about
Right.
I'm going to create an energy ball and like whoosh, I'm going to like do something like that. It's about co-creation with the universe.
Right.
And I really acknowledge
Right.
that I'm a co-creator with like the gods and the spirits, with fellow magical practitioners. And then from there, I try to keep a couple of dollars on me that I bless. Where I'm living now is a horrible homeless population, and I'll give like a blessed dollar bill to like one of my homeless homies that I kind of talk to on a regular basis. And from there, I try to be positive. I make a note of like putting like energy into my coworkers and trying to like see them as their best selves. Because magic just isn't about doing spells; it's about how you perceive things. And we can talk about like magic and quantum science and quantum physics and how what we observe is what is real. But that being said, I try to put as
Exactly.
much positivity in my coworkers. My day job, I do sales and marketing. So, I'm doing some magic to try to make some sales.
Right.
So I'm actually like look at my practice and what results I'm getting and how I need to refine things and how I did great or not so great. And when I come home, I'll work on writing. And there's like 4 books projects I'm working on right now. I might do some research. I might counsel some people. I have students in everywhere from like Ghana and South Africa to Europe and Philippines. And,
Nice.
there's people that I counsel and who come to me for help. And And I just get random people too that say, "Hey, Mark, you say you're accessible. I got a question," and I put all my information on my
Right.
website.
That
I
is
even usually have
fabulous.
my phone number on my website. I've gotten calls of like 3 in the morning of like, "Oh my God, I think my sister's possessed. What do I do?" I mean, you wouldn't even. That's a
Yeah.
whole different
Yeah.
episode.
Right,
So,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
but I
That's
try to
So
be of
it
service,
magic
and I try to acknowledge what my point where I'm at.
yeah. So it's
right
it's it's
on.
a
So
it's
it
a
is
from the time you wake up to the end, it's magic all day long, kind of.
Magic all day long.
Yeah. Awesome.
it
Awesome.
it is a part of your day to day. It is how you live your day. And yeah, that's
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
It is
fabulous.
woven into everything. Like right now, my tie is the hieroglyphic monad of Dr. John Dee, which I also have
Right.
a tattoo of.
Mm,
So
Right.
it's like I've got
wow.
magic literally in my skin.
That is fabulous.
Okay.
Love it. Love
That's
it.
yeah. Absolutely. All right. So you actually told us a lot about your what's important to you already, but if you want to embellish on some of that, I wanted to kind of get what what's important to you. But again, I've heard you speak on it in terms of like, the homeless and all the other things that you want to give back. What's a lot of those things seem to be very important. But if you want to go further with it, you're welcome to do that here.
Sure. So so one project, a book project that's almost done is I'm going to title it "Voices of Our Pagan Elders." And
Mhm.
I was talking about the Invisible College and how 10% of my book royalties are going to this nonprofit I'm the executive director of. Okay, but
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
only exception is for Voices of Our Pagan Elders. All the royalties are going to a pagan elder assistance fund, and this kind of came out of the inspiration of Oberon Zell was moving, and he was like, "Oh, I could use a little help for moving." I was like, shame on our community that our elders aren't supported when they need support, and they never ask for help. They
Mm.
never. I almost never see someone begging, or even with like a GoFundMe or anything like that. There's tons of people
Right.
who spiritual mentors of me personally and of other people that need help, and so. I'm almost done with that. I interviewed Oberon Zell, Belladonna Laveau from Aquarian Tabernacle Church. Um, Today I was interviewing Janet Farrar and Gavin Bone in England, which
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
cool because it's like without Gardner and a lot of without Wicca getting popular, a lot of stuff
Yeah.
in America would have gotten popular. And she was just telling me these crazy stories about Alexander Sanders, and it's just great, and I'm loving it. And
Mhm.
where I'm going with this is not only are we all connected, but like a lot of the projects I want to do are giving back. And then
Mhm.
just like the other stuff I do, it's just crazy. Like I'm working on like another nonprofit, and I'm going to actually save a little bit on that for like another episode because once that's done in a year, it'll be kind of cool.
Okay.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
that
Right.
leads, as you were saying, you're sharing about these things that are important to you. It really, the kernel that I'm seeing here, that the essence of everything has to really do, as you're saying, giving back. So being influencing
Absolutely,
in some way community in some way. And that
absolutely,
really is one of our big questions is what, tell us about the work you're doing with community. And you've already done a great deal. So you have this thing that's coming out, they say a year from now, and you'll share that for later. But let's talk then a little bit about what was it that brought this sense of urgency. I'm going to use that language to for
Oh,
you
that's a
to
great
say
question.
these are projects I need to put. Yeah, yeah.
Sure. So one of the things, and I'm just gonna be quite frank, is I work with
Hmm.
some deities of the dead. One of the I work with I could communicate with the dead, our dearly departed. I
Hmm.
work with a couple of death deities and very some dark deities, and I've
Hmm.
acquired this blessing or curse, or how you want to put it, is I'm pretty good at knowing when people are going to die. Okay,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
I'm pretty accurate in about like 6 months range. Okay, I'm pretty good at it at this
Mm.
point. So I know when I'm going to die. Okay,
Hmm.
I know when my expiration date is. Don't worry, it's not
Gotcha.
anytime soon. It's not even in 10 years. It's not even 20 years. It's more than that, and I won't tell you. I'll let that be a surprise.
Right.
But I know exactly what's going to happen to me. But that being said, I went through a really, really dark time. And I want to talk about this just because I want to be, not only I like being transparent on stuff, but I think it'll help people. So I'll just be straight up. I was really just going to cash in. I was going to throw in the towel. Like I was just, I had a plan. I had a whole bunch. I was just ready to do with it. I was done with life. Okay. And so I said, you know what? I was married at the time. It's like, I got to get my life insurance in order. I got to get my will in order. And I had this to-do list. And I said, okay, it'll take me about a month. Okay. I was like, all right, I got a month to do all this stuff. And then I said, there's some magical things that I want to pass on that I think might be useful. So people can like avoid some of the stupid mistakes I made when I was an idiot practitioner starting out. So let me write a couple essays. Like, all right, I'll write a couple essays. That makes me out 2 months. Okay. All right, 2 months, and then I'm going to do it. Okay. So then I was like, oh, you know what? So I might as well turn this into a book. So I was like, okay, how can I finish a book? Okay, well, let me finish at least a couple chapters, and then I'll just do that. And they're like, okay, I got about maybe a year. Then I said, oh, then I'll do this, and I'll do that. And then finally, my to-do list that was supposed to be a month turned into a 10-year plan, which ended up as now a 13-year plan. And so what happened is all these like to-dos of like my final to-do list, it gave me purpose. It gave me purpose. It realized that I could get outside of myself. There's some things I had to share. There's some work I needed to do. Maybe some things I kind of wanted to atone for and people I want to make amends to. And it really became this mission to try to do as much good as I can. So that's part of the urgency from that. The other part of that is I have this, I don't know what happened in my brain, but the gods just kind of like hit this, like click this little switch in my brain a few months ago of just like all this inspiration. And it's just like, literally I would say, God, I wish I knew someone who did this and this person would appear. And I said, I wish this person would appear and this person would appear. It's like, okay, let me connect myself with these other people. Let's do this project. So I've got so many projects going on, and I'll reveal them as they kind of like get off the ground more. But I have a lot of projects that will directly benefit the pagan community and directly put money, basically raise our level financially, so that we're all not. Here's the thing, real quick. If you've studied psychology, if anyone studied psychology, or even if you haven't, look up Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, hierarchy of needs, Abraham Maslow. And if you look it up on the pyramid, at the bottom is physical needs. Shelter, food, clothing, warmth, etc. And then after that, there's like emotional needs, and you kind of go up into like self-esteem, love, and then self-actualization and like spirituality at the top. And so what I've noticed being involved in pagan community for like 25 years is a lot of people cannibalize our community. Okay? They straight up cannibalize our community, whether it's I'm trying to sell books, or I'm trying to do tarot readings, or I'm trying to get like, make a name for myself, whoever or whatever. We're at odds with each other because we're not getting our base needs met. So I have a lot of plans in the hopper to like raise us from that level as a community so that we quit squabbling at each other. Because honestly, here's the deal, folks. Straight talk. Witchcraft and magic are getting more and more mainstream, and I don't know about y'all, but the fact that everyone can do magic, and you've got literally millions of untrained practitioners on the planet doing goddess knows what, scares the bejeebus out of me.
Yep.
So we all need to get together, forget these grudges, forget all the bullshit. I don't know. Am I allowed to say bullshit on here?
Yep, you are.
All right. Forget all the bullshit, and we need to really batten down the hatches and get as good as possible so we can train all these people who are just like becoming awakened, learning about magic the first time. So that's also part of the urgency. I don't know about y'all, but I've been the victim of wild magic and from untrained practitioners. It ain't pretty.
No, I understand you. I understand you there. Thank you. That was a good point.
That last statement kind of goes right into the next question, which is, what would you like to see us as a community accomplish, as a group of, like that's one of the things that you just mentioned there was to, quit the fights and all of that. And it's so funny because we have our next show is based on Witch Wars Among Us. Okay. So part 2. So yeah,
Mhm.
it's this the question is, what would you like to see us, what's some of the other things you'd like to see us as a people, as a community, as mages, witches, whatever, accomplish?
Okay. So a couple things actually. This kind of actually talk. I was on a podcast yesterday, and they asked me like, what are some of the three things? Someone asked me like, what are the three values that you'd like to transmit? And I said humility, curiosity, and wonder. And I'd like to see those in our community.
Mm.
I mean, I'd like to see us all be a little bit more curious. I'd like us to see, like, kind of put our egos aside a little bit more and say, wow, I might have been doing the same candle magic spell that works really well, but could I do something better? Could I learn something different from someone else? I'd love to see more knowledge sharing from people. I'd love, in my perfect world, I would love to see like the Library of Alexandria, that sort of situation, where I could have
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
a voodoo practitioner from Haiti, and I could have like a Hecataean witch from Russia, and have like a tantric practitioner from India. I'm saying this because I know all these people and I have these conversations on a regular basis now. But I would love to see more and more
Right,
people
right.
come together, talk about magic, and talk about spirituality and personal growth, and just become enriched by our differences, and
Mm.
bond on our commonalities, and just really come together. So that's
Right.
definitely one thing I'd love to
And
see.
I just have to say that the New Alexandrian Library, which is actually constructed right now in
Yeah,
Delaware, the San
yeah, that's
Francisco
really
Real,
cool.
right? Yeah. So there these things are happening because there are
Yes,
some areas where a lot of this energy is there's some focal points where a lot of this energy is coming
Right.
right,
together. So now we need to bridge those areas. That would
exactly.
be fabulous. That's fabulous work. Um, you've mentioned already that there are some projects that you're currently working on, several that
Sure,
you're currently working on, and then
several.
many that are already in the pipeline that are going to be a
Correct.
little longer term. Can you share some more specifics about the things
Sure.
that are coming out, soon, short term?
Sure, sure. So I've already talked about, Energy Magic is obviously my book's out. I've obviously talked about
Yes.
the nonprofit, the Invisible College. So go
And
more
just
on
so you
that
know, we
is,
had some people in the chat saying that they really like your book. Who was that? Samuel?
oh,
Wow.
good. For everybody who's read the book,
Yeah.
thank you, thank you, thank you. It's an honor to be of service. So I'm glad everyone's enjoying it. Um,
Yes.
so let's see, what projects can I talk about? Okay. Well, one of them I can definitely talk about is I'm starting a for-profit corporation, or actually it's an LLC. And what I've done is like I'm doing stuff like a pagan occult clothing line, a furniture company, a music production slash management company. I've got all these
Mm.
like weird projects that you're thinking, oh, these don't make sense together, but they do. They all kind of dovetail and work together. So, for example, I've got there's like a witch in like New Orleans who's going to be the model for the kind of the occulty pagan clothing line, and one of the things that's under
Mhm.
there is there's a whole line that's just on the goetic demons or the goetic spirits. And I like to prefer to
Mm.
call them spirits
Right.
because
Beautiful.
I'm kind of at this point where I'm kind of
Beautiful.
decolonizing magic in a lot of ways, and I realize,
Yeah.
and let's just be straight, a lot of those goetic spirits were once demons. I'm sorry, were once gods or goddesses from other cultures that were
Mhm.
demonized. So
Yes.
of
Right.
course you're gonna have to like use barbarous words of power and use them by force if like other people if they're pissed off. How many practitioners have actually like connected with some of these spirits? And so what happened is my protege in South Africa, he kind of was real with me. He's like, hey, you work with magic? I'm like, yeah. We started having this conversation, and he's like, I've been working with goetic spirits
Yeah.
for like most of my life, and I've learned a lot, but I treat them as people. I treat them like
Mm.
with respect.
Right.
And I started working with that a little
Mhm.
bit, and I've noticed different effects. And so imagine
Excellent.
you go on a website, you get a hoodie with like a goetic sigil, and then there's a hip hop track that's also summons or connects to that spirit. So that's
Right
kind of how
on.
things are
Right on.
dovetailing. Um,
Right, right.
excuse me. So that's how some of those
Mhm.
projects are dovetailing. But I also had a
No,
homie
that's
who was
fabulous.
I had a friend who was really going through some hard times financially, and I said, "What can you do?" He's like, "Well, I can do furniture." So I'm basically doing some occult and, shall we say, some more interesting furniture from like this company.
Right.
And then I've got a friend who's a carpenter, and I saw this thing online where you can like get coffins and turn them into couches. I said, "Can you do that?" He's like, "Yes, I can do that." I'm like, "Cool. I know you need money.
Done.
Let's work on this." So I've
Right.
got all these like
That is
weird side
awesome.
projects, but they're all under like one umbrella company.
Right. Right.
So
It's
that's
kind of
coming,
That is
connecting the
and
dots.
fabulous.
It's kind of way, right?
so I'm working on that, and
Yeah.
then I'm really going to give you guys like a sneak preview now. So the other thing I'm working on is I haven't rolled it out yet, and I still have to get it incorporated and do a bunch of legal stuff. But I've already made like the precursors and talked to a bunch of people. But it's going to be basically a pagan business owners association. Okay,
Beautiful.
so I want you to think about this for 1 second. So, in my work, in my day job, I was making a deal with like an association of store owners, and there's
Mm-hmm.
like some people might own one store, two stores, or like even 500 stores. And then I realized, that's kind of what Walmart does. Walmart will say, "Hey, they can make so much money because they have all these great deals because they can buy so much in bulk, right? They have that buying power as if it was like 100 or
Yeah.
even 1,000 mom and pop stores together, right?"
Right.
So imagine if all the pagan and occult organizations, the business owners, whether you own a store or an Etsy, basically if you're like
Mm-hmm.
paying taxes on your business and you're recognized as a business, imagine being under one organization. So what this does, it
Right.
gives us buying
Right.
power as a community. So think about this. We can get life insurance at really cheaper
Right.
rates than we would as individuals. Okay. So the first step would be like life insurance. Then the next step would be auto insurance. Then the next step would be health
Right.
insurance. And I can find ways to get reasonable health insurance for pretty much all pagans as long as they're doing some sort of business
Right.
or if they're married to
Right.
someone who's doing a business. So this is one of those things I was talking about elevating our community.
Right. Right. That's
Yeah.
So I
awesome.
have
That's
other projects like
fabulous.
that. But that's just kind of like a sneak preview of one of them.
That's
Right
Um,
awesome.
on.
That is awesome.
Here's
So it's a lot of things that's kind
here's
of built
much
into.
success.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. His projects are built into the community and everything else. So that's awesome.
But you can also see how
Mm-hmm.
like my personal
Exactly.
things kind of like dovetail with other things, and
Yeah.
it all
Yeah.
works out.
Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what events are you doing this year that's coming up?
Oh, what events? Oh, let me excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get my spreadsheet real quick because oh my god, if I by my spreadsheets, let me just tell you that.
Yeah. 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 Don't we all in some way, shape, or form? Definitely. Have to be somewhat organized, and I can't say it. I'm a little old school. I still use pen and paper for some
Me
things, or
too. Me too.
pencil and paper for some
I know.
things.
But
But then there
in
are
some ways that kind of
spreadsheets.
shows our age, right?
Right, right. But
Ah,
spreadsheets for
goodness.
other things too.
Yeah, yeah. We're getting there. We're getting along the lines of spreadsheet and stuff. We're kind of like, okay, we got to do
Yes,
this. We got to get with the times.
right on. Oh wait, did he freeze up on us? Mark, did
I
you
don't
freeze
know.
on us?
Mark? Mark?
I
Uh-oh.
think he's frozen. And Jen, yes, a date book. I have a date book too.
Okay, I think
Here he
he's back
comes.
there
He's
now
coming
saying that
back
he's
in.
back.
He's back. Yeah.
Uh,
Let's try and
Can you
get
hear
him
me?
Okay.
back on
Yeah,
camera.
there
All
you
right, sorry
go. There
about
you
that.
go. It's like you disappeared.
No, my Wi-Fi is really bad in the place I'm staying at right now. So sorry about
Okay.
that, everybody.
It's all good.
Um,
It's all good.
so starting off, I'm doing. I'll be at St. Louis Pagan Picnic, June 1st. I'm teaching a workshop on energy magic. Then I'm doing a book signing in New York State, in Liverpool, New York, which is by suburb of Syracuse. Then in June
Mm-hmm.
14th, 15th, I'll be in Canada at the Wand and Cauldron in Ontario.
Oh, wow.
Then
Cool.
I will
Oh,
be at
nice.
Witchfest USA July 6th. Then
Yay!
in July,
That's awesome.
I'm looking forward to. I wanted to go last year, but I had some life stuff happen, so I'm
Yeah.
super excited going this year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Excited to
Then
I
have
think
you.
you,
in
just interrupting you for a second. I think you're
oh sure,
selling some of your books and stuff there, right?
What's that?
I think you said you might be selling some of your books and
Yeah, you
stuff.
know what? I'm just gonna go ahead and I'll just go ahead and vend. I was thinking about it, and I'm just gonna
Yeah, yeah.
bite the
I think
bullet
it would be
and
great.
buy a bunch of books.
Yeah.
Um,
So you can
Excellent.
spread the word more, spread your
exactly,
knowledge
Yes.
more, you
exactly.
know? Okay.
What else? Oh, and then in July I'll be in Chicago at looks like I'll be at the Malloway Brothers bookstore. The Malloway Brothers, if you don't know, they also have a publishing house called Crosscrow Books, and they put out some
Mm.
amazing stuff. And then I'll be at the Occult Bookstore, which are some old friends of mine. Actually, if you go online and you find, I was an occult consultant for an independent horror movie, and we actually filmed some stuff in the
Ah,
Occult Bookstore. It's horrible. It's a
nice.
crappy movie. It's absolutely
Oh
awful.
man, but
But
it's
I'm there in the first 5 minutes
exciting.
warning them, don't do this thing, otherwise the bad thing's going to happen. Of course, they do the thing. But it's kind of funny. And then
Oh God.
end of July, July 26th, 28th, I'll be at Mystic South in Atlanta. So I'm still narrowing down some bookstore
Mm-hmm.
tours and signings and workshops in between. But right now I've confirmed St. Louis Pagan Picnic, Wanted Cauldron, Witchfest USA, Malloway Brothers and Occult Bookstore, and Mystic South.
Okay. All right. Awesome.
Beautiful. So you're busy. You're busy for
Awesome.
these next
Yeah,
several
Oh,
weeks,
busy.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
next
oh, oh,
couple
one
months.
thing real quick.
Well,
So
listen. Yeah.
if you go to my website, there's just go to my website and I talk about the book club. Basically, I'm doing an author-led book club,
Yes.
one for weeknights and one for weekends. They're basically I go through the book chapter by chapter if anyone has any questions or wants more knowledge.
Beautiful.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
awesome. Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. So much to, and
Sure,
yes, well, first of all, we're excited to have you at Witches Fest. That indeed.
Yes.
But
we're gonna have so
we'll,
much
with
fun.
all the things you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
coming
yeah.
up, there's going to be so much to talk about in the future as well. You've got lots going on.
Oh
So
yeah,
tmuch you so much for joining us
So much.
tonight.
Yeah. We
I mean,
really
we did have a
appreciate you
lot of
being here with
engagement.
us. Go ahead. Go ahead, Rhonda.
Yes. No, I was just going to say, and we had a lot of engagement in the chat where people are really interested in the things that some of the projects you have coming up. So really, thank
awesome.
you so much for joining us and for all of your work.
Yes.
Really appreciate it. Awesome. Well,
Absolutely.
right
Thank you.
now
Well,
we're
thanks
going
so
to
much
have a
for
little
having me. You
word from
folks are
our
amazing, and
sponsor.
keep on keeping on. So
All right. Thank you. Take care.
thank you,
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
All right. So we're back to astrology. But before I begin the astrology part, I just want to correct something about the dates on Witches Fest. It's only July 6th. We had to move the Witch Camp part.
Yes.
And we haven't updated that, but we will for the next show. But we moved it to 2025. And we're just doing the Witches Fest on July 6th. So I can't wait to see all of you there. Do try to come. All righty. So we are going to
Yes.
continue the last four zodiac signs for May as to what is in
Mhm.
store for you. So Sagittarius, okay? Your monthly
Yes.
affirmation is I am always capable of rising to the occasion. And your horoscope for May 2024 says it's time to get down to business because you've got some big opportunities headed your way and you've got to stay ready. Taurus season's diligent and hardworking vibe will help you focus on slaying your to-do list and managing your daily responsibilities for the first few weeks of the month. Okay, so this new moon that had passed on May 7th was especially productive for you. So it was a very powerful time to kickstart healthy new habits in your life or start in new projects. Your lucky cosmic ruler, Jupiter, is making big moves this month too. And the Jupiter Casimir on May 18th will sprinkle some cosmic magic all over
Mm,
your new moon goals. So, whatever you put into play for the new moon on May 7th, it's going to come with some additional magic from that Jupiter Casimir. This is a time to get yourself organized ahead of the summer. Once Gemini season starts on May 20th, your love life will be coming into focus and your relationships will become a hot topic for you. New partnerships could materialize, so keep an open heart. The full moon on May 23rd rises in your sign, putting you in touch with yourself and helping you see what you're bringing to the table more clearly. Let go of pieces of yourself that no longer align with you or who you're becoming. And 2 days later, expansive Jupiter joins the sun in your relationship zone, making a
mhm.
year long period of growth and good luck when it comes to making deeper commitments to the people you care about. All right. That's
Good
a good one
stuff.
for
Good
you,
stuff.
Sagittarius.
Yes.
Okay.
On to Capricorn now. So, Capricorn, your monthly affirmation is everything inspires me, even the most inconsequential events. So, your May horoscope. Shake off any springtime blues because your horoscope from May 2024 will be lighting up your passions. With the sun in fellow earth sign Taurus, you're feeling more confident and in touch with your playful side. So put your stresses aside and focus on connecting with a deeper sense of joy and romance. That new moon that we just had on May 7th was the perfect time to pursue a crush or kick off a new creative project. Whatever gets the juices of inspiration flowing, that was the time to get it started. So take full advantage and keep pushing that energy forward. That new moon is positive was positively connecting with your disciplined planetary ruler Saturn, giving any endeavors you start now some major lasting power. Some good luck will flow your way throughout the middle of the month, so take a leap of faith and follow your heart. Gemini season starts May 20th, at which point you may want to start tapping back into your to do list and getting your schedule in shape. You've got big plans and you need to get organized in order to bring those visions to life. Lots going on. Let your intuition flow during the full moon on May 23rd. As this lunation brings your psychic senses to the forefront and can help you align with your higher minded intentions. Capricorn, get clear on what you want so that you know what steps you have to take to achieve them. 2 days after that May 23rd full moon, so on the 25th, lucky Jupiter rolls into your chart's work and responsibility zone, sparking a year-long period of heightened productivity, new work opportunities, and a deeper focus on your well-being in your overall life. Simply stating, enjoy the ride. Great month ahead, Capricorn.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Aquarius. Okay. Aquarius, your monthly affirmation is I protect my free time and defend my sacred spaces. You hear that? I protect my free time and defend my sacred spaces. So, your horoscope for May 2024 is full of introspective energy as Taurus season shines a light on your home and family sector. Things kick off with transformational planet Pluto stationing retrograde in your sign on May 2nd, which it did. So you may feel some
Mm,
subtle shifts within your psyche over the next few months. The new moon on May 7th was a beautiful time to connect with your family who maybe you have lost touch with or were not clear of any domestic drama that you had. You may have cleared up some of that. Home is where the heart is. So follow your straight down to your roots and make sure
mm,
they're getting the spiritual nutrients they need. Unexpected people or memories from your past could come waltzing into the present moment mid-month as your unpredictable modern ruler Uranus is connecting with both the sun and relationship oriented Venus. So, whatever happens now is an important growth experience for you in the long run. So, trust the process and have faith that the universe has your back. Vibes shift once the sun enters fellow air sign Gemini on May 20th, and you'll be feeling much more lighthearted and ready to embrace your playful side. The full moon on May 23rd brings passions and romance bubbling up to the surface. So follow your heart toward whatever sparks the most excitement. You deserve to have some fun and get your flirt on. Oh, wow.
Mhm.
So do that. two
Yes.
days later, 2 days later, on the 25th, lucky planet Jupiter waltzes into your creative fifth house for the year to come, kicking off a period of divine inspiration. Lots of new ideas and plenty of opportunities to bring love and magic into your lives. Yeah.
Oh, that
All
is
right.
awesome. Right on. Finally, we get to Pisces. Pisces,
Pisces.
your monthly affirmation. Yes. Your monthly affirmation, Pisces, is I speak to myself the same way I deserve to be spoken to as a child. I speak to myself the same way I deserved to be spoken to as a child. You're a social butterfly right now, Pisces, and your horoscope for May 2024 is packed with opportunities to connect with people from all walks of life. Taurus season is lighting up your communication zone, and that new moon on the 7th was the perfect time to take action on any new ideas that spark up some important conversations or share what's on your mind with the people around you. You've got lots to say, and people are finally ready to tune in. Catch up with friends mid month. As talkative Mercury is amplifying your communication skills, and a lucky Jupiter Cassimi on May 18th inspires you to finally put some of your deep and meaningful thoughts on things into words. You may want to channel some of this thoughtful energy into your home life once Gemini season rolls around on May 20th, as the sun will be activating your heartfelt and homey fourth house. A little extra comfort can go a long way, as the full moon on the 23rd brings career choices to a climax, asking you to tap into your public facing talents and put your leadership skills on display. And 2 days later, again on the 25th, one of the most important cosmic events of the year takes place, as your traditional planetary ruler, Jupiter, joins the sun in your family sector. This kicks off a magical year of depth, growth, and learning experience when it comes to processing your past, finding your roots, and connecting with your memories. So, as above, so below. So, dive in deep to ensure you can reach the highest heights. Right on.
Yeah.
So finally,
Those
we've
are
gone through all the
beautiful.
signs of the
Okay.
zodiac for the month of May.
Yes. Yes.
Right on. And let's just see if I can grab time. Hmm.
Yeah.
And my challenged screen here. Well, if we can't show our little video, which sometimes happens,
All right. So it's tarot time, people. And as usual, for the month of May, we're pulling that one tarot card. And what if the reading is basically what it means for your sign. And again, it's based on what we've been talking about for each sign as we went through the month of May. Okay? So pull that one card, shuffle the deck and pull that one card, and let's see what it says for you and your sign. All right, Rhonda, what have you got?
I'm grateful this is my sign. This is my card for this week. It's the Empress. Oh, I
Okay,
love
all
this
right, that's a
energy
good
because
one.
Yeah, it's a good one because right now this is the energy I need right now. This is the energy for me of that new life, new birth, new opportunity, growth, expansion, all of the things, the generation of new life. That's where I want to sit right now. I want to embrace that. And yes, I am going to acknowledge we're on Mother's Day weekend here in the US and a
Oh,
couple of other
right.
countries around
Yes.
the
Yes.
globe.
Yes. Yes.
So honor us, honor the mother, whether you are a mother of life, of humans, mother of critters, or mother of family or friends chosen. However you title yourself, we will honor the mothers as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
The
that
Empress
is what
was the
came up
word,
for
right?
me, and I am grateful for that energy. I am so
Yeah.
grateful for that
Yeah. Yeah.
energy right now.
Yeah. Look at that. I have got, I believe it's the Eight of Pentacles.
Pentacles, yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. And she is
That's work.
slowly, like, she's got all her eggs or her good stuff all lined up in a row, and she's shining it up one at a time, looking at it and putting it aside. And and it kind of reminded me of something that Mark said about, helping out the elders and everybody else, and you
Yes.
know doing something to kind of and we've been talking about it recently, where we said, the pagan community has a lot of elders who they all end up retiring with no money or not much,
Yeah.
whereas none
Yeah.
of them has any passive income or anything like that, and they need to start building that. And this kind
Yeah.
of reminds me that of the person that's putting it all in a row of creating that passive income, creating those things to try to take the elders now going on. We have to do that, just like in the regular world.
Mhm.
We can't walk around with our heads in the clouds or just in magic only. You have to learn to do the mundane things and be able to have money put aside for your retirement, or not even retirement so much, because a lot of them are
That's right.
their oldest age still, trying to earn money to survive off
Still
of.
working.
And
Yeah.
we have to be able to get to that point, because if our magic does not work for us in that way, then we're not doing it right. No matter how much we teach other people about it, we're
Oh,
not doing it right.
my
So we have
goodness.
to start doing that
Yep.
ourselves, for ourselves, because some of the things that people forget, I think sometimes we may teach and put out a lot, but we have to feed ourselves
Mhm.
as well, so that we could stand on our own without having to need the help of others to survive as we get older. It's just a natural progression of things. If they do it in the real world, we need to do it in the pagan world, which a lot of them do not think of. They think of the me time and the now time, and that's it. So this card,
Yep. Yep.
to me,
And that is
talks about a
huge.
lot of things. And again, we've been discussing that, talking about that for the
Mhm.
last few months, and doing that whole setting up for ourselves. And as we are getting older ourselves, I'm in my 60s. So
Mhm.
it's kind of like,
Mhm.
I need
Me
to do
too.
something. I don't want to
No
be that
joke.
elder out
Yeah.
there. But
No. Right
yes.
on. And there's a
So we
whole
have to do
story when you talk
things.
about that card, Star, that 8 of Pentacles. There's a whole story. And if you, and I don't want to geek out too much, but that 8 of Pentacles has a bit of a story behind it, being the card of the energy of a person who's been without. If you know the story of the Pentacles, the Suit of Pentacles, that
Exactly.
5 of Pentacles,
Exactly.
people have been without. Now they've mastered it. They're like, I will never find
Yes.
myself in that place ever again.
Again.
I know
And
what
they're
I
making
know. I
sure that
can
they
do
do
this.
it. Yes.
Exactly.
That's the concept.
And
That's the
hey,
concept. And
you
that's what I
gotta have
wanted
the
us to
energy
do.
of, yes.
Yes.
And this
Yes.
energy of
And
the
I want
Empress
us to do
says that
that.
all life
As a
generates
pagan
here.
community, yes.
And that includes new business. New business begins
Right,
here
right,
also.
right.
New
We wanted us,
opportunity.
the
New,
community, learn to support ourselves without having to, because we are, as the elders, are supposed to teach the young ones how to be able to have that income, so that they don't have to be struggling at their end. And
mhm,
we are the ones, some of us are doing that, and we have to stop. I'm very much into that whole
mhm.
self-reliant thing at the same
Mhm.
time, but we have to also teach people how to do that as well.
Community.
Awesome.
Community. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we will do join us on May 17th at 10 p.m., because we are going to do part 2 of the Witchy World panel, Witch Wars Among
Yep.
Us. Okay.
Yes.
people wanted to have some more questions with that, and so we brought that back. And Rhonda,
Yeah. Yeah, what do we say? Please like, subscribe, and share. We really do appreciate your
and
feedback. So again, thank you to everyone in the chat. I know Fred Dark Moon, you got the Page of Swords for your card. I love my pages. The purest embodiment of air energy. So yeah,
yes,
that's a
and
fabulous
don't
card.
forget to thank Mark NeCamp Jr. for being with us tonight. We want to thank
Yes,
him so much. And again, everyone in the chat and all of you. And again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
and share.
And let us
We'll
know other
see.
things you want us to talk about and who else you want us to interview.
Absolutely.
All right. All right. Have a
Absolutely.
wonderful night, everyone. See you next week.
We'll see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.